welcome to Lifting Leaders Podcast, where we're unleashing leader possibilities to make a better world. I'm Trisha Ryan, and together with Crystal Roberts, we're diving deeper into some of the complexities of the world's most critical challenges and exploring innovative ways of navigating through them.
Through interviews with experts and leaders just like you, we are exploring what it takes to thrive as a leader today and examining new ways of thinking about how to creatively lead into a more equitable, socially responsible, and sustainable future. And the future starts now.
Hi, Crystal. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Trisha?
I'm good. I'm on the verge of chuckling, and I have no idea why.
Maybe it's because we've been laughing.
Yeah, it's possible.
as we prepare.
We live in a world of frivolity.
Yeah. Well, we always enjoy coming together.
Yeah,
we
do.
So we cherish this time that we get to spend with each other, but also spend time with our listeners too. It's such a gift to be able to share some of our musings, our thinkings. And today is a Coach's Corner.
Yes, it is. We haven't done one in a while.
I know.
This is kind of nice. I love revisiting, and I'm hopeful when we come back from our break later on in the year that we are ready to bring more Coach's Corners. Maybe it'll look different. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
So how was your week?
I had a great week. I actually had a bit of a quieter week. A lot of my clients are on vacation.
Yes.
But I had all this stacked up stuff that I needed to get to. And while I didn't get to everything, I got a couple of really important things done. And so I feel like they were kind of weighing me down. And so now that I've completed those, I feel lighter. I'm like, I'm ready for summer now.
I love that feeling. I really do. I've got one project that I am continuously working on because I haven't quite gotten to the end of it yet. I think if I were just to sit down and concentrate for one day, I'd get it done.
Yeah.
But I go chasing squirrels the minute I get into it. It's because I don't really want to do it. I just want I want it to be over with, but I really don't want to do it. And I tried it last weekend, and I started, and okay, I'll just own up to it. It's to organize my closet.
Oh, mine was not organizing closet. Mine was actually finishing an exam.
Oh,
so
yes.
Where my colleague and I are going after a certification, and it's been going on for a long time, and we're wrapping up very soon all of that practicum piece. And so this was the written exam. Yeah.
Well, I kind of procrastinated my way all the way to recert. So,
yeah. So congratulations. You got your PCC. Mine came in. I got the email today.
Yay!
So I'm recertified
Congratulations.
too. Yeah. And in fact, today also is my business anniversary.
Congratulations.
6
Happy
years.
anniversary. Oh, my word.
I know. Kind of crazy.
6 years.
6 years. Yeah. In February, it'll be 4 years full time in my business. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
But 6 years. Yeah.
Well, I knew it felt like you'd been doing it for an eon because you used to be my boss, as I recall.
A long time ago. It's now becoming a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but so good stuff this week for me. How about you?
Yeah, it was a good week. It was, I'm getting geared up. I'm on a team that is doing proposals right now. And we don't just have a few, we have many. And so I'm reading through these things and realizing that I can go cross-eyed if I read long enough. Actually, but it's really good. It's a lot of great information, and I didn't realize we had so many powerful organizations out there that do this one thing that we're looking at, and I'm excited about where it's going. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
That was work stuff.
Yeah.
And I've now given in to my cat. I did tell you my cat story.
Yes.
Poor thing. He's now become so spoiled, I'll just say it, that if he doesn't like what I give him, he'll sit by the dish and cry and cry and cry and cry. And so I give him something different, and he'll eat it. He'll eat 2 bites. He'll look at me and he'll say, "That wasn't it either." So, half a dozen cans later, I still haven't figured out what he likes. That's okay. He's going to be eating used cat food for a while. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and he's going to get it again tomorrow because I am not going to open any more cans.
So I would say that your cat is Very self-aware.
Absolutely
Very
self-aware. He knows what he likes and he
what
knows
he
what he doesn't, right?
Yeah. And that's our lovely transition into our topic for today.
Beautiful. It was beautifully done.
Yeah. I love this topic, self-awareness. And it is something that if you're shying away from, you think, oh, maybe I'll skip this one. It probably means that you need to spend a little time there.
Yes.
And kind of what you and I were talking about is why we think this is really important is because it really is the starting place. When we think about how do we become a better leader, how do we become a better employee, how do we become a better human, it starts with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really does. And it's, it's funny. I've heard people say, oh, she or he has no self-awareness whatsoever.
Yeah.
And you think it's just a simple term. It's like they are not on board with their own thinking. And it is that and so much more.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting. Often the people who are saying that could use some self-awareness themselves. It's like, okay, it's something we all could use.
Yeah.
We can all use it. And I think if we all practiced it more regularly, the deep dive to become self-aware and continuously retouching that our world would be a better place for sure. Right?
Yeah. It's definitely a really important capability for all of us to get better at, even if we think that we're a person who is pretty self-aware.
Right.
Usually the most, kind of what you were saying, that the more self-aware we are, the more we realize we need to actually focus on that and get better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's not all consuming, it's really not something that is, it can be hard, but it also can be a lot easier if you go into it with a particular attitude or, knowing that it's a growth opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And no, I think for, clients sometimes that's often the issue, the actual issue, right?
Yeah.
Is that they're just missing that. And
Yeah.
confidence comes when you are more self-aware, right?
Yeah. So, Trisha, thanks for pulling these articles for us as foundational to this conversation. And we're going to add in a lot of our own thinking as well.
So I found 2 articles, actually, in
Yeah.
the Power of Self-Awareness in Leadership. And I really like this one. It's short and sweet, but it's got some gems in it. And the other one, though, that is really a lot more useful, I think, for me anyway, has got steps. I like 11 ways to achieve greater self-awareness, and that's called What is Self-Awareness and How Do I Get It? Right? And just remembering that these are not be-all and end-alls, right? These are 2 articles, and there are so many other places you can get this information. But in the first one, the subheading on this, which I really liked, which is leading yourself before you lead others. And yes, doesn't it make sense to be on board with how you're feeling about things before you pass it on to others, knowing that there's an impact on what you say, right? Or what you say has an impact on them. And you're going to see reactions depending on people's own self-awareness, right?
Yeah. And I think it's about recognizing what you're bringing to leadership, really understanding that and being intentional so that we're not just doing that knee-jerk reaction to every situation, that we understand why we're taking the action that we're taking, understanding why we're having the emotional reaction that we're having.
Well, and it's that emotional intelligence to know that you have emotional reactions, internal emotional reactions, but not letting that overpower the other things that are coming into play. Like, yes, there are emotions, but there's also, you have the ability to control your emotions. And that's where some people without the skills have a hard time doing that. We do see a lot of people who, I call it a knee-jerk reaction, but it's because they don't have the skills or the tools to not do that. If they had that awareness, they probably might not, right?
Yeah.
And it does say that. It said leadership is not immune to the impact of emotions. They play a significant role in decision-making, and that is so true. I know that I've been in situations where I'm overwhelmed. I'm I'm feeling emotional about an initiative that may be happening. And I had that many, many years ago. I had one that was a big impact. It was like we were going to be seeing a change in our organization, and it was going to change my own team. And I didn't have the luxury of having a blow-off, knee-jerk reaction to it, because I had 14 people that reported to me, and it was going to impact some of them.
Yeah.
So it was very hard. I had to divest myself from work for a couple of days before I had it together enough to sit down and talk to people about it. And that's not the best option sometimes. You don't want to wait that long, but better that than just go into it and fire off, which is what I would have done. I would have made terrible decisions around that. And I might have, but it's what happens. We are human, right?
Yeah. And, the Kristen Neff work around self-compassion.
Oh, yes.
So her answer to that would be, it's important to know that you need that time so that you can process those emotions.
Yes.
To come back and be the best self that you can be for your team. And I think that makes all the sense. That's what we're wanting people to do, right? And as we think about helpers in that, OD people, coaches, that sort of thing, helping people to get right with that and be okay with that, to be able to say, yeah, I need to step away for a moment. I need to pause for a minute before I make a decision, because I know that I'm reacting from emotional perspective. And that can come from, it can come from any kind of trauma sometimes.
Yes.
People who have been through other layoffs, other difficult situations that might be somewhat similar. Somebody might think, well, if they didn't know that person had been through that, they're thinking, why are they having a reaction to this? Well, because there's a lot of other things that are wrapped up in it.
Yes.
And so that self-awareness allows us to know, it's like, oh yeah, this isn't just about this presenting issue in front of me. I'm bringing all that baggage with me from all these other experiences that I've had. And to be able to recognize that's that self-awareness, and then to pause and then make a decision about, well, this is how I want to react, or I need more time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because as you were saying that, I was thinking about our generations that are in the workforce today, probably more than any other time in history, have seen those kinds of situations happen over and over again.
Yeah.
Because we have so many people working, and we have so many businesses now, and it's global.
Yeah.
So people carry that baggage around with them. And without the tools to help them, they may continuously react. This article talks about how, leaders who have self-awareness, they do have that ability to recognize their own emotional responses too, and how they land. And they're more readily able to remain calm and focused. And if not, they can divest themselves for a while and then get that, right? So I don't know about you, but I actually want to move on to the next article, because I think this is a good article, but I think
Can I say one thing before we move on?
Of course.
So you kind of said this in the beginning when we were talking. Of course, we want to do this as leaders for ourselves so that we can show up as our best person. But we want to do this for our teams also, because we model it. So we've all been in that situation where we have a leader who's just flying off the handle. And that's kind of opens the gate for other people to also be reacting like that. But when they see a leader who can take on difficult and challenging things in a calm way, they recognize that this is sort of the expectation. They have faith and sort of trust in that leader because of that calm reaction. But also they're saying, this is how I can behave as well.
Excellent call out. I'm glad you stayed on the article. And it does make me think that of, the fact that leaders kind of cast the shadow. So people, their actions have an impact on the people around them and their direct reports. And it cascades all the way down. So if there is a very unself-aware person at the top, and those are the behaviors, those reactive behaviors are the ones that they are demonstrating, those reactive behaviors are going to look like they're okay by the next tier down. And
Right.
that starts an entire culture of potential toxicity, right?
Yeah.
And so it's important, I think, for leaders especially to go through the journey of finding their self-awareness and being more self-aware, because that shows up differently, very differently. And then that cascades down as well. And who doesn't want to be a good role model, right? And
Yeah.
who doesn't want to leave a legacy of healthy culture?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we're not saying here is that we want people to be robots.
No.
The important thing is to recognize there is emotion. Mm-hmm. So as a leader, of course, you can say, yeah, this is really disappointing, or this is upsetting, or to be able to identify what the emotion is, but then to react in an appropriate way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I think you said you also liked the second article.
I did because it gives us I always like a good list.
I know. Check the box. No, it's not a check the box, but it is.
Yeah, it's like, what are some practical things that we can do?
Yeah.
And we love to share that with our listeners, because theories and concepts are amazing and we need them. Mm-hmm. And we also need some sort of tactical things. What can we actually do to build our self-awareness?
Right.
Yeah.
We've often talked about self-awareness in different contexts, but looking in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
And seeing how you're showing up to you. And we've done it with self-compassion. Look in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
Who needs to be your best ally?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Right. But same thing with self-awareness. It is that constant looking at yourself and seeing how you're feeling and where is my thinking right now.
Yeah.
I used to have a colleague in a long time ago who used to always check her thinking. And it was definitely a way for her to keep herself self-aware, to make sure that she was showing up the way she wanted to. And she'd stop if we were in a conversation. She'd go, I need to check my thinking on that one moment, and she would put her, put her palm on her knee, and I would know right away that she was thinking about something. That's how she processed. But it was to find her place within that enabled her to accept or react in a way that was more probably not reactive.
One of the first suggestions I have for starting to build self-awareness was to take a walk.
Yes.
Especially in the quiet of nature. And this really is so that you can actually hear some of the thoughts that you're thinking and to be less distracted. Like, how do we create an environment that we're not just constantly being pulled into our pinging phone or overhearing other people's conversations or our computer telling us we've got a Slack message.
Such a great call out, because we all now live in worlds where there is nothing but noise going on around us. And it's very hard to check your thinking or to find your emotion in something or to de-stress if all you're doing is trying to quiet the noise. So I actually really like the taking a walk. And it goes into the second one, which is really also practicing mindfulness, because you could do that on a walk, right? But it's a place where you could sit and observe your thoughts, where am I right now in this? And you can look at different situations and just pause, take a pause, right? I think it was Pam McLean one time was talking about, instead of reacting really quickly to something, to take a 6-second pause, right? And very slowly count down.
Yeah.
6, 5, 4 to 1. And by the time you got there, more than likely you were calmed down, right?
Yeah.
Or you were able to look at something a little differently. And that is a source of mindfulness, right?
Yeah. And they make the point that as we become more aware of our inner state of being, that we're able to actually observe our thoughts and beliefs. And that allows us to sort of separate and not, sometimes we believe that everything that we are thinking is sort of who we are. And we actually know that our minds are actually very busy.
Yes.
And so when we can quiet them, as you were talking about, it allows us to actually observe those thoughts and then make decisions about, is this really what I believe? Is this really what I want to be thinking? And to have intention around that.
And that's, I think, often why a lot of people do meditate. You know, meditation is that source of, trying to just focus on your breathing, right?
Yeah. I loved this number 3, and I feel like this is where I spend a lot of my life, is listening. So becoming a good listener can increase self-awareness. So sometimes if we're kind of spinning on something, really sitting down and taking the time to listen to someone else and kind of get into their world pulls us out of our own world. And that helps us then to be able to return to ourselves in a different way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's so true, that, making sure that we are listening to not only others to help us gain perspective or context of something, but also listening to our own signals.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The more we tune into their signals, it's sort of like practice,
Yes.
right? It teaches us how to tune in to ourselves. Yeah.
The next one is becoming more self-aware can be quite enlightening. And I believe that is true. I think sometimes it could be a surprise to find out, how we feel about something or how we approach something. Maybe it was something that we learned when we were kids or a part of our original belief system, our values, and we've evolved over time. And to learn that, I've been doing this way all these years because why? And then finding out I don't really like doing that. I don't know why I keep doing that, but I'm having everybody around me do it too. So it's interesting. It's like over the years of being submerged in family and school and various jobs and social milieu, we absorb prevailing ideas from our environment, and some of these get buried in our subconscious, and that's true.
Yeah.
We've always done it that way. It doesn't always serve well. What got you to this point is not always going to be effective anymore. We've seen 360-degree feedback tools that focus on that, right?
Yeah.
It may have worked for you in the past, but as you can see, if you are practicing self-awareness, it may not be getting you where you need to go.
Yeah. I think that enlightening piece, I see that so much in my clients. It's bringing the unconscious to the conscious. And you can get that in so many ways, like you're talking about 360 feedback. The other places I see it is when we look at values. And we talked a lot about values on this podcast, but they knew like maybe that things resonated sometimes with them, or they knew that they were sort of uncomfortable with certain things and didn't know why. When we do that values exercise, they realize this is why, because I have a strong value here and somebody's kind of trotting all over it. And so that awareness is like enlightening. It's like opens up the whole world for them.
Absolutely.
Go
ahead.
The other one that I just absolutely love doing, especially in groups, is MBTI.
Yes.
And really it could be DISC or any kind of personality assessment allows people to see, kind of understand themselves better, but understand other people better. And that when you see that light bulb go on for people and they're like, oh, you mean they're not doing that just to drive me crazy?
Exactly.
And really that there's another way to actually think. Like there's people who run around that actually think that way. It's like, yeah. And so that is so much fun because that's enlightening. I think they have that insight around themselves, but also about other people. Yeah.
I have absolutely no gene in me that needs a huge amount of detail on something, right? I'm a bigger picture thinker. And I didn't know until I took an assessment that when I go into conflict, I do need more detail. And, when I'm in my normal state, I'm happy as a clam if you never talk about all the details. I just want to know how people are coming together and, what we can do with all of this. But when I go into conflict, I need to know the detail. Like, has it ever failed before? What was the failure? How did they mitigate that? I want to know everything about it. And so I had no idea until I had an assessment that that's where I go.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It can open up new perspectives. Self-awareness can open up new perspectives. I love this one too. So when we think about how we see sort of ourselves, it's the recognition. I see this in the MBTI and doing those sort of things as well, that the way that I do it, we run around thinking until we've had some of these experiences, right? That the way I do it is the right way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And when we start to have these conversations with other people, and that can be just as simple as like a personality assessment, but it could be visiting another country, is really recognizing that the way that we do it isn't the only way to do it. And sometimes it's not the best way to do it. A lot of times it's not the best way to do it. So self-awareness, understanding your own perspectives, helps us also when we can see what other people are thinking. I'm not sure I explained that very well.
Yeah, you did. In fact, I was thinking, I got it anyway. I was thinking that as you were saying, go to another country, I was thinking, or another business,
Yeah.
Because.
Right. Benchmarking, doing those sorts of things. Yeah. Opens up our awareness of other things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Also, self-awareness is connected to self-esteem clearly, right?
Yeah.
And I know that often, I know that I'm sometimes my worst critic, and often we all are. We're our worst critic. We'll put ourselves down based on our past or whatever before we will pull ourselves out of that and actually act in a way that doesn't make people react similarly, right?
Yeah.
Or have them make an opinion of me based on the fact that my self-esteem is kind of, tanking at the moment, right?
Yeah.
But there's the other side of that too. Often people who are not self-aware may not be their worst critic. They may be their worst.
Their biggest cheerleader.
Yeah, their biggest cheerleader
like
or their biggest promoter.
Yeah,
right?
the overinflated.
Yes.
It's like not thinking that they can do any wrong.
Yeah, and we have that often, and I sometimes think of, I have a particular family member who is sort of, that way, was raised in karate and soccer and all these different sports, and was told that he was amazing. You are amazing. And in school, he was amazing. And everything was amazing. And as an adult, when he got to work, he found that they were giving him feedback to improve in certain areas. And he had never really heard that kind of feedback.
Yeah.
We've talked about that in feedback, but it's not being aware of, really being aware of yourself.
Yeah.
When you take that in, and that was a total negative reaction, as soon as he got, and it was constructive feedback. It was not anything that was negative, really. It was just, how can we improve in this area?
Yeah.
It was hard for him to take. So, it happens to people a lot.
Yeah, understanding our own strengths and areas where we are not as strong, where we need to spend a little more time with development. So important.
And we can choose which way we want to go with that. It's all about choice. If you want to continue to, be your worst critic, just know that when you are, that has an impact on other people.
Yeah. And I think that thing that you just brought up about sort of the overinflated perception, true self-esteem comes from true self-awareness, right? To be able to sit with, I'm not fabulous at everything. That's okay. And I don't have to be perfect.
Right.
It's like our self-worth does not come from perfection. So I think...
No, there would be 100% of the people on earth would be wrong about that, right? If we all thought that that perfection was the way to be.
Yeah. Our self-esteem cannot rely on that. And so yeah, self-awareness, a balanced perspective on ourselves. The other thing I was thinking about that also as a leader, especially, and we're all leaders, is when we know where we're challenged, that allows us to tap into other people's brilliance.
Yes.
And really create more of that team and that collaboration from a recognition that we need other people because they also bring things that we don't have.
That's right. Well, and that's the beauty of working together or working with other people too. It's like you don't have to carry that burden.
Yeah.
The whole burden. There are other people that can bring great ideas, and it may even spark more amazing ideas in me,
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah.
Another way that they say you can build self-awareness, is through journaling. And we've talked about journaling before. It's, if you're a person who journals on a computer, type it out, right? Or write it out. But often, as you're processing your feelings on something, writing it down is a way to process how you're feeling about things and what you think about things. And you can start with one word and build it into a sentence or go as far as you want to go. But it's a great way to get in touch with how you feel about anything.
Yeah. I think that next one we've kind of talked about already, which is feedback from others can help us be more self-aware. But I really like the point that you made around it's always our choice on what feedback we accept and we don't. Right. Because there's also a likelihood that sometimes feedback that we're getting is a projection from someone else about maybe things that they are feeling bad about. And so we always have to be aware of that. But I always encourage people to kind of sit on feedback that they don't necessarily agree with and kind of consider, is there a kernel of truth here? Could this potentially be a blind spot for me, even though I don't really see it? That understanding their perspective, it's always helpful. And then it also, bottom line, helps us understand the other person a little bit too.
The whole idea of feedback is a great way for us to, how do I feel about feedback, right? If I've been brought up in a business and feedback was always negative, I won't be looking forward to the next feedback thing, even if I'm going to get kudos. That's a cultural thing often, or it might just be with that leader of the leader, you know. But it's an important thing to take a look at if you're exploring and you're journaling. How do you feel about feedback? What does it mean to you? Yeah. And how do you want to take it? Or how do you want to take it in the future, right? Yeah. What do you want it to mean to you?
Yeah. So number 10 is, and we've talked a little about this already too, self-awareness can help us know our strengths and weaknesses. And with knowing that, it helps us to bring others along with us. And so we can make a stronger team if we all know what our strengths and weaknesses are. Yeah. I think the other thing I would say on this is, and this really gets to that work we often talk about with Marcus Buckingham, is that we do want to focus primarily on our strengths, though. Where is it that we can leverage those strengths, even when we're looking at something that we want to improve? We don't want to overuse those strengths, but we can oftentimes use them to help us shore up places that we may need some help.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And then the last point that they make on self-awareness is that it can help you set intentions. We go through, in our world, we don't always have a roadmap, right? We also don't always know what our purpose is.
Yeah.
And so getting that information can help us react differently, show up differently, how we're, getting an idea of where we're going. I know that when I went to my first step into college, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. I just wanted to go to college and have the experience and, won't that be cool? And I'll get it later on. I'll figure out what I want to do. And wow, that was about as non-self-aware as you could get. It was like, wow, let's chase this squirrel over here. And now there's another one over there. Yeah. And it was it was actually not very comfortable, because the further I got into school, the more I needed to know why I was there, right?
Yeah.
And that's just an example, but having a plan is not a bad idea, and knowing what makes you happy and knowing what makes you feel that you want to be doing it, that this is something I could do for a long time, or this is something that I am committed to because I believe in this. That's that journey to your self-awareness. And having that plan keeps you in line with that. With the idea that you could also stray off that path every once in a while, as long as you know what your core is, right?
Yeah.
As long as you have your values and you know what you want, makes it a lot easier for you to get there.
Yeah. I've worked with a lot of clients who are so overwhelmed with work, so distracted, also so overwhelmed with things that are going on in their personal lives. And you've got all this kind of wrapped together. That they really lose sight of that.
Yes.
That they are so focused on just meeting the needs of those around them. And that, over time, that erodes your own understanding of what you want. And it almost becomes, I'm satisfied. What I want is I'm only happy when other people are satisfied.
Right.
Instead of looking inside. And a practice just as simple as when you wake up in the morning and asking yourself, how do I feel?
Yes.
And giving you the choice, like, what do I want for lunch?
Exactly.
Those sort of things can help get you back in touch with who you are and what you want. And it sounds simple, but it's a place to start. You
can go in the morning, to your point, get up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, okay, what do I want this day to be for me? What do I want to get out of today?
Yeah.
Right? And, or, what do I want to do that is going to make it easy for me to have a good evening,
Yeah.
What am I going to have for dinner? What am I going to, any of that.
Yeah.
It's a great way to start. And they seem simple, you're right, but you do that every day and you start forming a habit.
Yeah.
And that habit is to check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's our coach's note for today, I think. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Be
our
self-aware.
Coach's Corner. Yeah. We hope that this will inspire you to really take the time to pause and to say, what do I want? What intention do I want to set? As you were saying, Tricia, what intention do I want to set for today around what do I want to achieve today? Or how do I want this day to go? How am I going to show up in this wonderful world that we have?
It's a plan, right?
It's a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's keep that conversation going. If you have questions or comments about the show, you can find us on all our social media channels at lifting_leaders. We have so many exceptional podcast episodes coming up after the break with more fantastic guests. So be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. If you know someone who would find this episode inspiring, share it with them. Text them, email them, or take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram and tag us at lifting_leaders. If you'd like to know more about us, our guests, or the show, please go to our website at liftingleaderspodcast.com. You'll find our show notes there as well. If you're looking for help in developing your leaders or would like a growth opportunity yourself through leader coaching, please contact us through our website at www.liftingleaderspodcast.com. Thank you to Ari Chance Roberts for always being our technical support. Finally, please take 30 seconds and follow us. It helps you because you never miss an episode. And it helps us because
you never miss an episode.
Oh, okay. To follow us, go to Lifting Leaders Podcast Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Then just tap the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow. While you're there, if you'd be willing to give us a 5-star rating and a review and share that episode with a friend, we'd be so grateful. Thank you, Crystal. This was fun. It was different.
It was the coach's corner.
It really was.
Yeah.
We haven't done it in so long. I'm out of practice. Man, many thanks to you, our listeners. We always appreciate you. Find ways every day to lift each other up. Take good care.
Bye. Yeah. Hold on one second. So, you're really...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just like animated. I apologize.
It's all that you can hear it in the background. All right.
Oh, okay. I was so unself-aware. I didn't even hear it.
Yeah, little example of self-awareness there. Oh my God. Okay.
Okay.